Hey guys, Ben here for Rock City Networks at Golden Plains 2009. Joining me, Mr. Dan Deacon. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm great. I'm great after seeing that show.
Me?
Yeah.
Me?
Your show.
Thank you.
Me. Oh, me. Now, Dan, that's the first time I've ever seen you.
Cool.
First time I've ever heard about you was just before you got here for the tour. And the most interesting thing I found from that show is your ability to communicate with a crowd. That is just, I've never seen anything like that before. You had them doing everything you wanted to do. Is that something that you've always done with your shows?
No, I used to fail at it quite a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's necessarily true, but it's something I like to do. I remember being like a teenager in high school and going to shows and just being like bored to piss. Like even if I liked the band, like seeing a band play for a while and just like standing there, and a lot of the bands I went to weren't really like movement focused.
Yeah.
Just kind of bored. And then I remember I got into ska music and people danced a lot, and I thought like, why doesn't this happen more and more shows? And then I got into like They Might Be Giants and people were dancing, and I thought that was cool. But at the same time, it was just sort of like I got tired of the show where it was just like I'm in the audience, I stand here, I look up there. There's a 10-minute break where I go like this and I talk to everyone else, and then I get back and I do this, and I do that for about 4 hours. Man, these bugs are intense.
Yeah.
But so I wanted to try to create a show that was a bit more engaging and had a bit more of a vested interest for the audience, where if like the audience sucked, the show sucked. So it's sort of important for them to get into it.
Silence like the window that takes me.
How did you find getting that control from, like you said, failing, but it's not failing. You obviously just tried it a few times. It didn't work. But where did that sort of turn around?
I noticed it was especially easy. You know, when I first started touring, I was playing mainly like DIY spaces and warehouses and lofts and punk spots and stuff like that. And those shows worked the best. And you know, when I'd play like a regular club or proper venue, and I'd play up on the stage, I was like, this just isn't really translating. So I started playing all the shows on the floor, and it just seemed to make a lot more sense. It was a lot easier to communicate. It wasn't about that, you know, I'm down here, you're up there sort of dichotomy. It was very much like one organic thing, and it made it so that the audience it was necessary for them to get involved. They couldn't just stand in the back and watch. They had to, if they wanted to be seeing what was happening, they had to walk up front and actually peer over. And when you get people in large groups, it's easy for that energy to be transferred from person to person, because it's hard to stand still when someone next to you is going like this and they're bumping into you and dancing, and that gets you to start dancing, and that spreads it all out. And when all the audience can see is the audience, it creates this sort of like audience excitement feedback cycle.
The gauntlet, is that something you've found from someone else, or is that a little trick you learnt yourself?
I wouldn't say I invented it. I mean, I think that happens a lot at like weddings and stuff.
Sure.
But no, the idea came about from God. The idea came about from playing this festival in Chicago where I forget the band that was playing after me. I want to say Beirut, but I don't think it was Beirut. I can't remember who the hell it was. And they weren't done setting up yet on the other stage. And like I'd finished my set, it was all done, and they were like, "One more, do one more, do one more." And I was like, "I don't have one more." Like, it's like I'm a band. It's like I have a very finite number of songs here. I'm like, "One more, you gotta do one more, you gotta do one more." And I was like, so I just had the audience do that, and I played this instrumental, and thinking that would be a cool thing to do, and it worked. But it was in this huge parking lot. And I basically just took the entire audience as far away from the stage as possible without thinking, because it was just like a really long line. And then the band was really, really angry at me.
Really angry?
Understandably.
As soon as the song starts, you're gonna pick a gauntlet and you're gonna dance through the gauntlet. And when you get to the other side, you're gonna reform the line.